Uh, I'm your host, Blain. I'm joined now by my co-host, Matt Smith
Good evening.
and Treg Wilson.
Hello.
So you guys may have noticed that we were off air for about a solid week and a half. Uh, it's because the three of us decided, you know what, screw this shit. We're going to go down to Cuba and just hang out on the beach.
I wish.
No kidding.
I was wondering where you guys were.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm here. I got all the pina coladas. Where the hell are you guys?
Yeah.
No, so everybody who listens is probably aware that I was evacuated due to a wildfire in my neighborhood. Uh, I'm home now as of today. My house is still standing, so that's good news for me. But 300 of my neighbors no longer have a home. So it's kind of a bittersweet homecoming. There's still roads that are blocked, impassable. The police are there. The firefighters are still patrolling. We're still on notice for an evacuation, but we're home finally. So thank goodness for that.
Happy to see that you're home.
Yeah. So I'm a little tired, so we're just going to do a quick show today. I mean, not much happened in the world of the Montreal Canadiens as we record on the 5th of June.
Michael Pezzetta signed.
Oh, that's right. The Habs finally signed a restricted free agent and get him to 2 years at $800K. That's pretty good.
It's a steal.
It is. Honestly, that's a good
It is.
contract.
I mean, if you think about it, Pezzetta's going to take a lot of stuff away from Arbor Jacki and with regards to fighting and like Arbor Jacki doesn't have to be the sole guy to go out there and be the sheriff. Now, I don't think Pezzetta's the heavyweight that Jacki is, but he can hold his own, and he held his own after Jacki went down with his shoulder injury. So I think it's a good signing for Montreal. He can be a fourth line player or a 13th player if need be. At just over league minimum, you're not really losing too much if you have to sit him. And he's a fan favorite, and he brings a little spark to the team every time he plays. So I think it's a great signing for the Habs.
I think it's not just him, but I mean Anderson, Gooley. There's a few other guys who can step up, but with Pezzetta, you've got a guy who's a really good energy player, a guy who can be a number 12, a number 13. He won't make any waves if you sit him for a few games, and then when you put him back in, he won't miss a beat. He plays like his job depends on it, which, let's be honest, it does. But he's a guy who started taking on penalty killing roles. If he can improve on the penalty kill side, he can go from an 8 to 10 minute player to a 10 to 13 minute player. And that's someone that would stay in the lineup. So that if you can get someone at 800K who can do that, a reliable player that can play 12 to 13 minutes and on the penalty kill, that's a great signing.
It is. It's an excellent value signing for the Canadians at, again, just over 800K. Great energy guy and a guy that's just excellent in the room. He's a character, let's just say that. And I agree with all your guys' points. It's going to take the heat off some of the other players that we'd rather be out there putting the puck in the net or setting up plays than sitting in the penalty box. And I do agree with you, Treg. He can definitely hold his own. Sometimes he sticks his neck out there a little bit too far against some of the heavyweights, but he won't back down. So good guy to have back. One of many still left to sign.
Yeah, having Ryan Reeves fill him in, and he just stepped up to him without hesitation,
Right.
knowing that he was probably going to get filled in. That says a lot about his character. He's willing to step up for his teammates, even if he knows he's going to take a beating. And his teammates appreciate that. You can see the lift that he got after he fought Reeves. The Canadians actually played well after that. They were playing for him. So that can't be ignored. That kind of that aspect cannot just be dismissed just because people don't like fighting.
Well, for me, it was like that relentless forecheck that he had. He just, even the games that Montreal was just out of it, he was still engaging and still giving it his all. And 239 hits last season in 63 games, and put up 15 points in the process, playing just over 9 minutes a night. And I agree, the penalty killing role it's kind of his for the taking if he wants it. A lot of guys struggled last year, that were in that role or that were given that role. And maybe those are a few guys that we might see offloaded in the off season. So yeah, the job is there.
Yeah. Anything else on Pezzetta there, Trey?
No.
All
He
right.
got a good flow. Got one of the best flows in the NHL.
He's got a great suit game too.
Yeah.
So congratulations to former Sudbury Wolves captain Michael Pezzetta on his contract extension. And speaking of contract extensions, this one just happened in passing. I know it's not to the level of Pezzetta, but Cole Caufield signed this morning. 8-year deal worth $7.85 million per season, just under Nick Suzuki. So, meh, right? Just a meh.
It's overrated.
Yeah, totally.
What has he done? What has he done?
Nothing.
I'm just reading tweets. What has he done? He's done nothing. He's never 43 points is his highest season. He's a bum.
You gotta log off Leafs Twitter. Honestly, I saw this on Twitter from someone, I can't remember who said it, but it rings true. It's a good signing when Leafs Twitter is melting down and freaking out over it.
That's true.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, I mean, it fits.
The thing is I'm not going to say it was a steal of a deal just yet, because again, we have to see what he does in the future. Like, I mean, he could have one season, that's great, and then that's it, right? But the way I look at it is, I think I call it team friendly just for the basic fact he's given them all those UFA years for absolutely nothing, really. Like, he didn't have to. He could have signed probably 7 to 7.5 for 5 years, right? And then if he hit the 50 goal plateau a couple times, go, all right, boys, I want $11 million. I want Marner money or whatever, right? And that really would have put the Canadians in a hole, because it would have been just at the time that, or during the time that they're starting to contend for a cup, right? Like, I give this rebuild max another 3 years, and they're a playoff team. Maybe not a contending team, but they're a playoff team. And then maybe, depending on how Hughes and Gorton put the pieces together, who knows, right? Who knows after that? Like, 3 years could be a contending team, but I'll just say a playoff team for now. And that's why I think it's a team friendly deal. Not so much the money. Like, to me, I don't think he was worth more than $8.5 million. To be honestly, like, any more than that, I think you're overpaying. 8 would have satisfied me, and that's pretty much what he got. 250K less than Suzuki. But to me, it's the term. It's the fact that he gave those UFA years to the team, and they got him till he's 30. So, it's almost a perfect deal for Montreal.
Sorry about that. Yeah, the best part of that whole deal, like you said, he goes until he's 30. You have all his prime years. You're buying potential. You're expecting him to reach that potential. And that's where the savings is. If he does become a 40-goal scorer, this is a massive steal of a deal. And the best part of the whole thing is the Canadians had an internal cap on individual contracts, and they kept to it. So Suzuki, when he signed his long-term deal, he took the same amount as Shea Weber, who was the captain at the time, and Weber was um, the line, the internal cap line for the skaters on the team. Now Suzuki has that same contract, and they come up to Caufield, and they get him for just under. So they stick to their internal cap, and you look at it right now, it seems like a lot. It's about 17.9% of the cap is used up by these two players who are first line players. But 4 or 5 years down the road, when the cap reaches 95, 96 million, now that percentage is down to like 15% of the cap on those two first line players, leaving a lot more room to put other players on that line or on that team to make them a true contender.
And I think that's what's pissing Leaf fans off, why they're trying to trash the deal, is because Montreal signed their two best players to pretty reasonable deals long term, while all their best players signed short term at a very high cost.
Yeah, they've got 4 players eating up about 45% of their cap.
And they're all free agents in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
And they all just signed till their UFA, till they became UFAs. And then, I mean, I'm not saying they won't stay. Austin Matthews has been saying all along he'd like to stay in Toronto, but he's asking more than what Nate McKinnon's making. So he's asking $14 million.
At least.
And if Toronto does that, they're going to be screwed signing the other 4 and trying to keep a team together.
It's very telling that their contracts are set up so that not only they get a big payday, but they have that escape clause where they're still in their prime and they can still get another contract and they can go anywhere they want. That doesn't scream, I want to stay in town. Whereas Caufield's, he signed an 8-year deal. Suzuki signed 7. So both players are going to be there until they're 30 years of age. There's going to be another 6 years of these two together on a line. That shows a commitment to the team. And Caufield mentioned he liked the direction the team is taking. I mean, it's hard not to like the way things are going right now with the way they're doing the rebuild. And Hughes, I think he's done a really excellent job at setting the financial standard right now. He's going to have to clear out some cap, but having those two at the same deal really sets himself up well for the future.
Well, your two. Go ahead, sir.
No, go ahead, Matt. You haven't spoken yet.
No, you got your two best players, 23, 22 years old. And as you said, just over $15 million for both of them. And both these guys led the team in goals, even though Caufield only played 46 games. So on a team that's got just an fucking abysmal, like absolutely terrible power play, you can get that going and have a guy like that can shoot the puck. I'm going to say it here. You're going to see the first 40 goal scoring season since Vinny Donfus. And you very well might see the first 50 goal season since Stéphane Richer. He's that good. He's got that much talent. He was on pace for 46, 47 goals this year. I think this is an excellent signing by Hughes. And yeah, there's the people that are out there in Leafs world and other teams that are tuning in and trying to troll, but this is a player that I think many teams would definitely bet on, that it's going to be a good value contract moving forward. A lot of positive signs. He's got excellent chemistry with Nick Suzuki, and he's becoming a whole other new player under Martin St. Louis. So I think it's only up from here for Cole Caufield.
Yeah, I was just going to say, even the structure of his contract's good. It's almost 10 million for the first 3 years, and it drops to 8 to 6 to just under 6 for the last 3. So that's of actual pay money, not AAV. Just a bonus in his first 2 years, and no trade clauses his last 3 years, which almost everyone ask for nowadays. But I mean, if you look at the team, is like just going on what you said, Matt. You have a potential 40 to 50 goal scorer. You say he stays with Suzuki all year. He didn't get injured, or his shoulder wasn't that bad. He didn't have to go. You're looking at maybe 50 goals for him, maybe, possibly. He was on pace for 46.8 or something like that, if you do the math. So we'll say 47. So say he hits 50. Suzuki, while playing with him, was on pace for over 80, almost a point per game, almost 82 points. So not only are you looking at him playing better, you're looking at Suzuki playing better. You're looking at whatever winger's going to play with them playing better. And it's like we've said on many shows before, if it wasn't for all the injuries, Montreal would have been close to make, close to that playoff spot. They wouldn't have made the playoffs. They would have been like 13th, 14th, or 15th or something like that from the bottom, or at least draft. But they would have been. So now you have them. Now you're bringing in these other guys. Like now, I guess we can start looking. Is Pierre-Luc Dubois going to be a Canadian? Are we going to start looking at, bringing him in, and what will he sign for if he comes onto the team? Because obviously they don't want anyone right now going above Nick Suzuki unless they get some superstar player coming in, like, Austin Matthews, say, or something, yeah. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there, unless this is a really elite superstar player coming into Montreal, no one's going to get, I don't see anyone getting paid higher than Nick Suzuki. If that's the precedence that Hughes is keeping. So we start bringing that guy in, and then say you draft Smith. Say you get Will Smith. 2 years down the road, he's going to be coming in. Or even Mitchkov, 3 years down the road, he's going to be coming in. Like Slafkovsky, if he can pick his game up, if he can be that winger that can play with them too.
Yeah.
And his game goes up.
Yeah, or Kirby Dach could move back to the wing if they bring in a center. We saw how important it was this year to bring in a center, just in the kind of the small sample size that we saw with Sean Monahan when he was healthy. It brought so much pressure off of Nick Suzuki. He was able to kind of go out there and play his game, and we saw towards the end of the year, kind of to their downfall with all the injuries that they started accumulating, but it was all the extra minutes that Suzuki had to play more or less out of necessity, because the other guys weren't in the lineup, or they weren't able to step up.
I'm going to kind of counterpoint that, though, because Doc played really well as a second line.
He did.
Well, so.
He did. But I did enjoy having him on that line, and I thought that they were quite dynamic together.
So I personally would rather see Doc as a center on another line, and that way you're not putting all the talent on one line and then diluting the rest of the line.
But that's also, I
see what you're saying. It was exciting to have him there.
But that's also if they were to say to bring in Dubois, because then you would have a 1-2. Then you would have a 1-2 punch at center, and you could utilize him if needed.
Or you could book Dubois on that first.
Or
line.
he can do that too. Yeah,
because Dubois played a lot of wing over in Winnipeg as well. So
he did.
He
did.
I'm 50-50 on Dubois coming to Montreal.
Yeah, even if he does.
Yeah, even if he does, like, we'll see what happens. We'll see what the coaching staff has in play. For one more thing I want to bring up, I was watching That's Hockey just before we started this, and I'm not an advanced stats guy at all, but when they were talking expected goals for per 60, Caufield was 5th in the league last year, and the people that were above him in no particular order: David Pasternak, Braden Point, Tage Thompson, and Connor McDavid. So I think we got ourselves an okay player at putting the puck in the net.
Caufield also had a goals per game, higher average goals per game than Austin Matthews this year.
He did. And if you're looking at over their career from the 2019 draft class, he has the best goals per game average of the entire class. Now Hughes has more goals overall, and Caufield is second. So Hughes has 87 goals, and Caufield has 53. But Hughes has played 244 games, whereas Caufield's only played 123.
Yeah.
Caufield blows the entire draft class out of the water for goal scoring.
Yeah.
On average. So
right.
you've got that. But what's the biggest question mark for any young player when they're going to sign him? They're looking, okay, what's his potential? We're going to buy some potential years, but how will he fare in the playoffs? They already know.
Yeah,
exactly. He's okay. Meh. After 10 NHL games, he was a first line winger in the playoffs on a team that went to the final. So he produces and he plays big in big games. Like so Spectre's Hockey, our good friend Lyle, posted the video of Caufield's goal against Vegas in the semifinal. And it's the one where he goes around McNabb after Leonard has said, "Oh, we pre-scouted. We know exactly what he's going to do. We got this."
Yeah.
And within a split second, he had already figured out exactly how to beat both players, both McNabb and Score, all within a 2-second span.
Yeah.
In a key game at a key moment.
Yeah.
So
in a game that, or in a season that he was just playing for Wisconsin.
Yeah. He just left college.
Yeah.
Not even a month before. Like it's unbelievable.
His potential is unbelievable. And the fact that he fell to 15 to the Canadians, I still can't believe it, but I'm more than happy to take this kid. And I'm more than happy to be a fan right now and to see this guy's potential moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, Philadelphia fans are pissed. They thought for sure they had him. Yeah. And now they're just angry. I don't blame them.
Yeah.
I mean,
and go ahead.
Right now, the worst thing that can happen with Caufield is that his shoulder ends up being a problem, or he can't stay healthy, or something to that regard. But, and again, I'm not trying to compare the two, but when has Austin Matthews played a full NHL season?
I don't know.
Right. So
wait, I'm looking at Caufield scoring 26 with a bad shoulder.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
right.
And it's like everyone says, and I hate to compare them because I don't think Caufield's on the same level as Matthews. Overall, I think goal scoring, he could be close, but Matthews is just a better overall hockey player. Like, Matthews is here and Caufield's in this group. Like, am I wrong by saying that? I'm not. I mean, I'm not.
Caufield's a winger. So
I guess, but I'm just saying that they're two. Matthews, if he's healthy, he's going to get you 100 points. Caufield's probably going to get you 80. You know what I mean? But he's going to get you 40 to 50 goals. So that's, but Marner, injured wrist. How many surgeries has he had on his wrist? But he's still going to get I'm talking money here. He's still going to get the 14 million. No one cares that he only plays 65 games a year, right? It's the fact in those 65 games, he does what he's supposed to do. So even if Caufield ends up playing 60 to 70 games a year, he's still going to do what you expect him to do when he plays. So that's what you're paying him for.
Yeah.
And it's not 14 million.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you think about it, they've got Suzuki and Caufield for nearly the same price as a Matthews. Now, Matthews may get more points in either one, but the two combined are much better productive wise than a single Matthews. Not to mention, Suzuki plays defense. Caufield is actually not that bad as a winger.
Hey now,
defensively.
Matthews should be a Selke nomination every year.
Sure. Okay.
And Caufield's not that bad on defense. I've heard of some people go here, he's no good on defense. I'm like, you obviously haven't watched him play. He's not the greatest. Don't get me wrong. He's not Patrice Bergeron or anything like that, but he's fast. He can get back. He can do what he can, and he doesn't give up. And that's really all you can expect from a 5 foot 10 winger, really. So I don't know. I'm excited about the deal. I'm glad it's under 8 million. I'm glad it's for 8 years. I'm glad it's not Dubas. So far, Hughes has 2 of his core 4 signed for long term. Although Bergevin signed Suzuki, just throwing that out there. And Dubas, what's his name? Dubas couldn't sign any of his 4 core for more than 5 years or 6 years. None of them signed for 8. How's that sound?
No. And here's another little aspect. So this last year, Caufield is 9th overall in the NHL for goals per 60. Do you know who's 10th in goals per 60 over that exact same amount of time?
Michael Bunting.
No, he's not even on. I don't think he's even on the list. You got to scroll through a few pages. But just behind Cole Caufield at number 10 is Alex Ovechkin.
Never heard of him. Is he new?
I think so. Clearly, Ovechkin's the better player. Obviously, he scores more. But here's the thing with Caufield.
He's 2 of Caufield put together.
He's 2 of just about anybody put together.
Yeah, that's true.
Physically. But Caufield's only averaging about 16 minutes a game. Whereas Ovechkin's, I think his average is 63 minutes a game.
All power play.
Pretty much.
All power play.
All he does is stand on the dot the entire time.
Yeah.
Just stands there like this.
Pucks in deep. Pucks in deep.
So you got a guy who's probably going to end up being the greatest goal scorer in the history of the league, just behind Caufield. I'm not saying Caufield's any better. What I'm saying is that Caufield, at his 16 minutes average per game, has room to expand his game, has room to grow that offensive potential. Ovechkin has maximized his because he's playing a ton of minutes. Once Caufield starts playing more minutes, and he will, then we're going to see a little bump in his numbers, and he'll probably hit his 40 to 50 goals just off of that.
He'll have 40 next year.
Potential means nothing until it happens.
He'll hit 40 next year.
John Blue Lover 127683201.
Hope you're listening.
That's what he tweeted. Potential means nothing. Just like Socrates would say. I know it's Socrates. I'm just potential means nothing until it happens.
And this is the same this is the same person that would rave on and on about his favorite team's draft picks. Look at their potential.
Wonder if Nick Robertson's going to get a 7.8 whatever contract when he gets his full contract.
He'll get like 9.5.
He's going to get.
He'll get like 9.5.
Well, I mean, Nyes is the guy he's the man. He's the greatest player that the Leafs have had in years.
I will say this: I think Nyes is going to be a very good two-way player for the Leafs.
Yeah, for the 3-4 years that he's there. Yeah,
he's going to sign his $10 million contract till his UFA season and bugger on out of there.
It's tradition.
It's going to follow Matthews to Arizona.
Well, I mean, that's where they're from. So
we can't address Cole Caufield without addressing his arch nemesis, his doppelganger, his player that's just as good as he is, Michael Bunting. So, listen, Cole Caufield isn't worth anything. Michael Bunting, his stock just raised in Toronto to $9.5 million a season because of Cole Caufield. Because if you look at the stats,
full no move too.
If you look at the stats, Bunting is a much better player than Cole Caufield. Now, take him off that top line and then look at the stats, and Michael Bunting is comparable to Michael Pezzetta. So,
Except Pezzetta's 6 years younger.
and he can fight, and he actually stands up for himself instead of just whining to the referees and falling down every time someone skates by him.
Someone should let Bunting know that the pool is frozen. Stop trying to dive in.
He's trying to win the gold medal off Stutzel.
Good luck.
Wait till they're on the ice together, be like synchronized swimming.
He's doing the backstroke.
No, but I mean, I know that the Leafs love trolling Canadians fans online because Habs live rent free in their heads. It's just the way it is. If they see a Habs fan happy over anything, they need to shit on it as hard as they can.
And of course,
Because
we Habs
they're
fans
miserable.
never make fun of the Leafs. So
Oh, all the time. But we don't go out of our way to do it because it's like kicking a dead horse. It's just so goddamn easy. They do it to themselves. There's
actually,
no
it's
sport
funny.
in it.
Twitter today. Oh, what's his playoff record with the Canadians? Well, he did make it to the finals. Doesn't count unless you win. So there you go.
Yeah. So all right. We pretty much covered it all. RFA signings, good. Check. This opens up it opens Hughes up now to focus on the draft. He's got the most important piece out of the way, and now he can focus on the draft. No other file on his desk really means as much, so he can focus on that 5th overall pick.
It's gotta start watching them Russian tapes.
I think it's going to be
Or the
Smith and
American ones.
Michkov. Depending on who goes fourth, I think they pick the next guy.
Bedard's going to slide to number 5.
Possible. He's small.
It's possible.
He's small.
Yep. Much too small. Can't get it done. Just like Caufield.
Chicago's going to be like, we know that small guy. And then Anaheim's going to be like, well, we already want Fantelli. And then Columbus is like, well, we're going with
Hampton's
Carlson.
like Nasky.
Yeah, we want a big center. And then who's next?
Leo Carlson.
Yeah, Carlson will go third, and then 5th will be Smith because he'll go to San Jose. And then Bedard will be like, what the fuck's going on, man? And Canadians will be like, we got you. Don't you worry. We got you. We have incriminating pictures on every GM of all the other teams.
Or he falls to 6 to Arizona and saves the franchise.
And Austin sees it and goes, I don't want it. I'm not signing in Toronto. I'm going to Arizona.
Yeah, it'll be a 2C.
The Bedard and Matthews 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
Arizona wins the cup in 2027.
Yeah. 16 straight wins. You heard it here first.
And they still only get 2,200 fans.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so that's pretty much it for the show. So I just want to thank everybody who've reached out and sent their support to me during the evacuation. I really did appreciate that. It was a nice feeling knowing that the community that we have here is willing to step up and help out. So thank you all for that. Now, final thoughts. Treg, do you have any final thoughts?
Not really. Just
okay then, Matt.
If you haven't read it yet, go out and check out the Hockey News draft episode or draft edition. It's a great read. Look at the top 100 prospects, and spoiler, they say best case for Matvei Michkov, according to Hockey News, is Cole Caufield.
We already got one. So Trey.
Well, we want to.
Yeah. Oh no, I really don't have anything. Say your prayers, eat your vitamins. Take your steroids. Do what you got to do to make yourself the person you want to be. But no, and Blaine, I'm glad you're back at home. Good thing that everything's good with you. I did a shout out on my Twitter to Montreal, the Canadiens, to see if they can maybe, send some merchandise to some of the kids that lost stuff in the fire. If people could retweet that, or maybe, help. Maybe they haven't responded back or anything, but I don't know if they will. Other than that, I'm collecting hockey cards for Burnsy. If anyone knows the original Burnsy, I'm getting some hot cuts to give to kids lost their stuff in the fire, to help with a little bit of a hockey card collection back with him. Just the small things that everything adds up, everything helps. So whatever you can do and stuff like that. And thanks to everyone else who reached out to me, even who wasn't anywhere near the fire, but and people who have donated clothes and stuff like that, and hockey gear and all that kind of stuff to the kids that need it.
Yeah, and on the hockey gear side, as several of the kids that I coach are now, they've lost everything. They lost their homes. So right now, TASA, the organization that I coach with, they're looking to collect equipment donations. So if you're in the Halifax region and you have some spare hockey equipment, regardless of the size, the condition, as long as it's usable and it's still CSA approved, please drop it off. Sports Wheels in Sackville will take it. Pretty much anywhere now, any store in the area. If you say this is for TASA, they'll take it and they'll deliver it. And I'm trying to see if we can get some kind of a sponsorship for the players. Like, if you feel like you want to sponsor a player to buy some equipment or pay some of his fees or whatever, I'm seeing if I can get that done. So keep an eye out for that. I'm going to try and get that done so that some of these kids, they're great kids. They're we were hanging out with some of them at the evacuation center over the week. They're devastated. They deserve some kind of a return to normalcy. So when the season starts, we want to make sure that they can all participate. So
so if I sponsor a kid, can I get like a picture of me on the jersey, like kind of doing this?
Sure.
Done.
But it goes on the back of the jersey, right?
Whatever. Imagine him screening the goalie and all the goalie sees is this.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, right over their butt. It's like you're coming out. They're pooping you out. All right. So again, thank you everyone for reaching out. Thank you for all your support. Please keep your emails and your DMs, all that coming in. We really do appreciate the support. So again, thank you very much. And remember,